Well, after more than a year of wasted time on the fantasy of Russian collusion in the 2016 election, there's still no evidence that any of it actually happened. That doesn't mean that lives haven't been destroyed. Many have been, beginning with George Papadopoulos, who at the time was a 28-year-old unpaid advisor to the campaign. He later pled to a charge of making false statements to federal investigators looking into Russia. He has not yet been sentenced. Simona Magiante Papadopoulos is his wife, and she joins us tonight. Mrs. Papadopoulos, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for hosting me. Good evening.
So you married your husband after this investigation began, after he became famous for his purported collusion with Russia. You're confident he did not collude in any way with the Russian government?
I know he did not, and actually one of the reasons why I'm here tonight, and thank you for hosting me, is to set the record straight about George, in particular in response to James Comey statements on national TV recently, in which he says that George tried actively to obtain emails on Hillary Clinton. This statement is completely false. George never had any interaction with the Russians. He has never been to Russia either. He doesn't speak Russian, he never talked to Russian officials, yet is apparently at the origin of the Russia investigation. This is quite paradoxical for me.
So my understanding is that all of this begins in March of 2016 when he's approached in London by a Maltese professor who has since disappeared with the offer of information from the Russians. What has happened to that professor, do you know?
Well, I know personally this professor because I used to work with him. The fact that he completely disappeared is very suspicious, but what I know about this meeting between George and the professor is that he was talking casually about an information that was already in the public domain at the time they met, and it was about emails on Hillary Clinton. We have to understand he was talking about email on Hillary Clinton and not about the DNC emails.
Right.
So it's a completely different topic. It was a gossip conversation, very casual, that George voluntarily reported to the FBI at the time of their interview, and it became apparently the reason why people think he is at the origin of anything so-called collusion, but actually never colluded with the Russian. He didn't do anything in Russia. Even his job, his work was completely focused in the Middle East, in particular in Israel.
No, of course. He worked at the Hudson Institute here and was a big proponent of Israel. So this professor, who do you think he was working for? What was that about? And where do you think he's gone? What was his agenda?
I honestly have no idea. My personal opinion, which I shared in different interviews, is that he's a very shady character. He could be in Italy. Recently, I heard he doesn't want to appear publicly because of the situation he's involved into and directly through George. But my understanding is that he was gossiping about emails. And again, I remember this information was already highly speculated by all media all over the world at the time. So there was nothing secret about that. Yet, as I said, it's very fascinating and actually frustrating to see my husband at the center of this investigation for talking in a bar. Even the meeting with Downer, which apparently in London, which apparently originated the Russia investigation, is contested by the same Downer. He never confirmed that George explicitly talked about emails. So
it doesn't make a lot of sense. Where is your husband now? He's under a gag order, is my understanding, awaiting sentencing. Is that right?
Yes, he's awaiting sentencing. That's why I think it's very important to set the record straight right now, because there are a lot of misunderstanding about his situation, about his role. I used to say that his role is very important. I used to compare him to John Dean. I never meant to make this comparison in the sense that would lead to the president impeachment. Actually, I think it's a key role because he has been approached by many different characters that, let's say, spies. He has been the victim of many setups, not only Hopper, other setups, and I'm sure he will be happy to share this information when the time is right.
Do you think that your husband's going to prison?
I honestly, I know how much dedicated and committed was in the Trump campaign. I know he did an excellent job. I know he's because of this incident, his freedom is challenged. So I trust and hope and I ask to President Trump to pardon him. I hope he will.
Okay. Ms. Papadopoulos, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.